Hey guys, Peter from Panda here. I bought myself this Holosun HS515C. It's a red dot sight for, for kind of any gun you want, but I use it on my AR. It's a 2 MOA dot with a 65 MOA circle, and I keep it on the dot with the circle, and that's actually the reason I got it. Now, I heard good things about Holosun. I want to unbox this here for you and kind of give you my impressions because I'm really excited about this. So the 5 here is kind of important. There's a 4 and a 5, and I think the 4 series is just a red dot. If it has a 5, it's the circle in the red dot. So more like the EOTech type of design. And that's really cool because the circle helps draw your eye in, and then you can actually have a smaller red dot because you're kind of brought into that area. Whereas most just singular red dots, and this one actually replaced an Aimpoint Micro for me, had something like a 5 MOA dot or something. I may be wrong about that, but you need a bigger dot when it's just a dot. So anyway, the 5 series optics here were pretty cool. And then it also runs on a battery, but as you can see here, it has a solar cell. Let's quick unbox this. So we have a little user's manual here. This one has an extra battery, and there's a reason for that. And here is the red dot itself. It comes with a couple of Allen keys, or actually they're kind of hex bits or star bits to tighten things down. There's also a tray for the battery right here, and that battery slides in right here. You can kind of screw this in and out and change the battery, which is nice, so you don't have to detach it. But even if you did, there's I love the fact that there's this quick release mount here. It's a slightly elevated, so it comes with this riser. These are all things I really love. I love that it has flip down covers. And what I've noticed is when I've been running this, sometimes they kind of twist, so you can see that they're on they're not just static on there, and so kind of the recoil of the gun can get them to twist around a little bit. So sometimes they end up like this. Not a big deal because it's actually pretty nice. So if you kind of hit something, you're not snapping off the cover. And then there's a little bit of like a gasket right there, so they do press in nice and tight, and they flip down nice with authority and stay down. Now I really like that. I love having the covers on there. I hate, as on my Aimpoint Micro, that it had kind of this elastic cover. And then even on I've got another Bushnell which has, like these caps that you remove. I would hate to be removing stuff and trying to put it in my pocket or things like that. So I don't understand why MOA don't have attached caps. So that's cool, protects your glass. It has field adjustable turrets. So what I absolutely love, and what's kind of a requirement on every optic I use, is that I'm able to adjust it in the field without tools. And now the practical reason is that I don't always carry like tools and things like that, especially on reflex sights. If you don't have an EOTech, which you can adjust kind of without tools, but on most of them you need like an Allen key to do it. So that seems kind of silly to me. It's just tough to have tools with you. And do you adjust a lot? Well, once you're zeroed in, maybe not, but there's all sorts of reasons why you may have to take off a sight and mount it back on, move it to a different T-slot on the rail, whatever. And so you may have to re-zero. So I like being able to adjust that. And also when I'm out, I also often find that maybe I didn't quite have zero in where I wanted it to, especially the range I go to doesn't go out that far because it's indoors, so I'm kind of zeroing for what distance they have and not for what I really want. And so it's not until later that I'm on an outdoor range or something like that I can really zero it at kind of the ranges I want. Now, the cap here comes off and it has a little slot there. There's a slot and a little tab that fits in there, so I can adjust, and you can see nice clicks. I don't know if you can hear that. And they're pretty resistive, so you've got to move them with authority, so you're not going to really move these around and knock them around by accident. There is some writing on the cap there, so it shows up and right, and that's pretty nice. And you may say, well, these caps aren't tethered, you could lose them. That's absolutely true if you did. I'm not worried about you moving your turret there because they're actually really hard to move, especially without it. Now I want to show you the other cap here just to show you and prove to you they're actually both the same. So if you for some reason switch them up, it doesn't matter. The vertical is, you can always use the up and down, and the one on the horizontal you can always figure out left and right. So that's pretty cool, pretty clever on their part, I think. Especially, like I said, on this Bushnell TRS-32, you know, they're tethered because the caps are kind of meant to stick with the turret they're on. No big whoop. No big whoop. All right. So again, these are the things that I really like. You'll notice on here you have a flash kill. Now, one of the things that I was trying to figure out is, does it really work? And it does, I'm sure, because you can see that the depth of the flash kill is like a few millimeters thick, and they're very thin. You absolutely can see them through this end, obviously, but when you're focused on your target pretty far away, you don't really notice it. I'd rather have it there than not, I suppose. For my purposes, I'm not hunting anything, so I'm not worried about an animal seeing it. I wouldn't take them out because of that, but you can. You can see there's a little slot, or a couple little slots where you could unscrew this and take it out. And I've seen people do that. But for my purposes, it's not a big problem. You can see that the lens on this side has a little bit of like a colored reflective like sunglass coating. So in this case, it might actually be more visible without it than some other optics. And it's not really set deep into this tube here. So I like that it's there. As you can see, I have lights directly above me and you can kind of see them at longer ranges. I'm sure it's, you know, more useful, but, you know, is it perfect? No. Could you stretch something over it to really make it perfect? Sure, if that's your need. But the fact that it's there, as opposed to a lot of optics, i.e. like this Bushnell or my Aimpoint, that don't come with it, it's pretty cool. It's a nice little feature that is included. So I definitely like that. The other thing that I really love about it, and it might be a little hard to see here, but there is very little color distortion or, you know, washout when you're looking through the optic itself, right? And let me, you know, and if you've used a red point or a red dot before, you may know what I'm talking about. In that, let's take a look at this Bushnell here, which I really like, and this one served me well. You can see that there's this little bit of green tint, and I don't really like that a lot because it kind of washes some things out, you know, especially in the like the blue and green and red range. So if you have the opportunity to have a really clear optic like this, I always take it because then you don't lose anything. In this one in particular, if you're using a bore sight laser, you cannot see a red laser dot looking through this. So it almost makes it useless when you're trying to bore sight it. Whereas this one, the Holosun, is no problem. It's almost, there's almost no, you know, color effect when you're looking through it. And the same on my Aimpoint, it had a little bit of kind of like a coloration to it, and I don't like that. So that's another super big advantage, that the low color glass. Now the big thing about it, and what I told you about the solar cell on top, is that it uses the solar cell to power the element, the red dot element, and we'll see if we can get it in there. But it's kind of, you know, there's some pros and cons to it. And so let's see if I can, might be a little hard to kind of, there we go, to show it to you. But you can see it there. It's a pretty awesome, and I'll try to roll in some footage if I can get it. But the brighter the light you're in, the brighter it will try to make that red dot in the circle. Now, it's really cool because a lot of times then you don't have to worry about drawing the power off the battery because it's generally using the solar cell. It's only going to use the battery when there's no light, and then it doesn't need to draw a lot of power because it doesn't need to be very bright. The thing that I've found about it is that there's a fairly unique situation when you're in low light as the shooter and your target is in bright light. And that causes a unique problem because the solar cell is kind of dimming that red dot down, and so you can lose it in the light wash of your target. This is very common in my gun range, where each of the stalls is lit, but they're not overly lit. But the range itself is lit very, very brightly. And so what I noticed is that although I could see the red dot, on automatic. What I wanted to do most of the time is switch it over to manual, and you can do that, by just holding down one of the buttons for a few seconds. All right, so what I'm going to try to capture here for you is now you can see the dot, and I've got it pressed up to the light here. Being able to see exactly what that dot looks like is not going to be great here, but you can toggle by holding down this positive button for 3 seconds to switch between just the solar and the auto setting to a total manual setting. So right now I can control by hitting the down button the brightness automatically and hit it so that it goes all the way up to its maximum brightness setting or back down just like that. And so the cool thing about this is that when I was at the range, I was able to adjust it so that I could see the dot appropriately. Now, if I hold down the positive button, the plus sign, for a few seconds, it'll go back to auto. And because I'm in the light here, it's showing a pretty decent bright dot. Now, if I turn the optic away and put my hands over the solar panel, you can see it kind of disappear and then reappear as I cover up the solar panel. So if you're in pretty good light, it should be pretty bright. Now that's, like I said, the catch is that it's got to be pretty good light where you are, not just on your target. But otherwise, just hit that plus sign button for a few seconds and go straight into manual mode and adjust it however you need. So great little adjustments there. I usually just keep it in automatic so that when I close it up, put it back in the case, I don't have to worry about the battery going dead. So those are the things that I like about it. And then the last thing that I really love about it is that it's cheap. And when I say cheap, I mean it's actually much cheaper than a lot of kind of the economical optics out there. So this one I got for about $230, $240, somewhere in that ballpark. And that seems to be the going rate for it. Now I know Holosun has a lot of other optics out there. I would love to try them, but to be honest, they're either like this in the 400 series, so I pretty much know what that's going to be like. But they also have like a 30 millimeter optic, which looks pretty interesting. And it would give you kind of a bigger field of view when you're looking through it. But I have yet to see one of those in the wild or be able to get my hands on one. So I'm definitely looking at that. But so far, my experience with Holosun has been absolutely ridiculously good. I absolutely love this. How much do I love it? I'm actually showing you my second one, because the other one, and you may have seen in my original video, that I've been running on this AR pistol has been an absolute champ. People that have used it love it and are shocked at how inexpensive it is, given that you get, a circle and a dot, kind of like you would on an EOTech, and at the very least there, you're $500-600. So, I think just a really, really good value. Now, some of the things that I don't like about it, let me be honest. One of the things I don't like is that, like my aim point here, it doesn't come in FDE. So even though they have some kind of other color options listed on the website, I've yet to find them. It's not a big thing. The black on this rifle or pistol, even though my other color options and all the accessories are FDE, and it wouldn't be nice if this were FDE, it's black and that works just fine. And so for most of your usage out there, black is going to be just fine. The other thing that I don't really like is that it's a little hard sometimes, especially in bright sunlight, to tell which mode you're in, whether it's in the manual brightness setting mode or the automatic brightness setting mode. Now, if it's really dim and you're hitting the plus and minus and nothing's changing, then you're in the auto mode. But it would probably it'd be nice if it were a little easier to tell. Like if I hit the negative or the minus sign here, to turn it down for 3 seconds, it would always go back to the auto mode, something like that. So I know that you're always in one mode at least. The other thing that I wish that it had is maybe it's not a big deal, but you can see if I switch here to auto mode, I'm just going to kind of exaggerate I'm going to turn it up to its brightest setting because I want to show you that you can see the emitter from the front. It's not a huge thing, but obviously you can see the emitter there towards the back of the optic facing forward. I have it on the absolute brightest setting that you can possibly get it at. So imagine if, that's coming at you, your animal, your target might be able to see you. Not a big deal. For my purposes, it doesn't matter at all. But you can not only see the emitter, but it's going to be a little hard here. But if we were in really low light, you could see that kind of being bounced around on the far end of the glass here. So you get kind of this little kind of red light. Again, highest setting. You have to be in low light to notice it, but it's something that you have to be aware of. And now I'll just switch it back to auto. And because now the lights are off, it's going to be really hard to see it, but it's still out there. So anyway, I'm really digging this thing. Like I said, I bought 2 of these with my own money, and I've not only replaced an aim point, but I've replaced a Bushnell, and I actually may replace other things as well. So, this definitely has my stamp of approval, because just like you, I was looking for good quality at a low price. Peter von Panda with my Holosun HS515C. Out!